All right, so take two. So the first time I was trying to do this, a couple things. One, I forgot my little microphone. I got my little blue microphone down here, so I'm trying to not move around as much. Mainly because, oops, mainly because I don't want my focus to get out of focus. That makes sense, right? But hopefully this sounds a lot better. I'm hoping. I haven't heard this in quite a long, long time. And because we moved, unfortunately, I had to get it out of storage. So I hope this is working okay and you guys can hear me all right. So, but all right. So I'm just going to start fresh from where I started before, what I was talking about, which is the college program. And so years ago, okay, we're going back. I'm going back to actually 1998. So I was in college. I'm walking around, and now I kind of had a bad day. I was either coming from a science class or math. I think it was math class actually, because those are not my favorite subjects at all. Math, science, social studies, history, whatever you want to call it. Those are just not my strong suits whatsoever. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that is the right brain, and like the artistic and all that kind of stuff. That is, again, if I'm not mistaken, the artistic side of everybody is the left, I believe. I'm not sure. Um, I am completely out of the right side, and I'm more left, of course, more creative, more artistic. So that's kind of more where I am. Uh, so I walked out of class having a bad day, and I I look over my shoulder and I see up on the billboard Disney, and I'm like, oh hey, I'm a big fan of Disney, so let me go do. Let's see what this is. And as I'm reading about it, it says Disney College Program, and I'm like, oh, okay, like what is this all about? So I took down the flyer, I took it home, kind of thought about it, like, okay, this seems kind of cool. You get to go work for Disney. They put you up, you got to pay, to do that. They put you up and all that stuff, and and it's wonderful. So the next day I go to my counselor and I said, hey, I'm interested in this. How do I do this? And she says, well, this is what you have to do, A, B, C, and D. I said, okay, sure, I'll do it. So I kind of put myself, I kind of just started doing it. I told my parents about it. They were excited because because they know that Disney, makes me happy, makes a lot of people happy, but really makes me happy. So we're like, sure, go ahead and do it, Jeff. So I started doing it. And lo and behold, a few weeks later, I get a phone call from Disney saying, hey, we're having our open tryouts because you basically have to try out for the position, when you do the college program. At least that's how it was. And we want you to come with us. So I don't know if it was just out of the area, out of like the Midwest, I'm not sure, but there were 4,000 students approximately, I guess, that were trying to do this. And they only had spots for about 20, 25, something like that, across Walt Disney World. So if you don't know, Walt Disney World hosts or actually has over 67,000, probably closer to 70,000 cast members at any given time. That's a lot of people. So, but you got 4,000 people going from about 20, 25 spots. It's like, okay, well, I don't know how my chances really are, but what the hell? I'm going to keep on going through it. And it comes to the day where I'm chosen from the school. They say, Jeff, go ahead. It's you and two other people from CLC, from the school. You three are going to go and do this college program. I'm like, okay, fine. And then so now it's time for the open interview. And so what it is that they take you in this room. You got to sit there and wait. Kind of like a doctor's office. You got to be kind of professional. You got to dress professional. And you're waiting outside, and like you're nervous as heck. At least I was. And then they call you. You go inside, and it's a room. It's not a big room. Honestly, think of like maybe half the size of a principal's office, or even better yet, if you were ever in choir or band or something, and you're just going by yourself in a little room, that's about the size of this particular room. It was not very big. So it was me, three other people going for this position. and of course the person who represents Disney. Maybe one, or I think we had two. And everybody who's in there, they're all going for different positions. Like, this person was going for doing something in the parks. This one was doing something for custodial. This one was doing, character, stuff. And then I was going for merchandise. And anywhere, I didn't care where, just anywhere, just merchandise. Just having the experience, I thought, would have been really cool. And so they finally get to me. She goes. The lady goes across. The Disney representative goes across everybody, and then she comes back to me and has in her hand a snow globe and just says, isn't this really cool? Kind of nice. And without even batting an eye or anything, she puts it right on the desk, right in front of me, and she says, "Jeff, sell this to me." I said, "What?" I mean, I was kind of like caught off guard. I didn't know exactly what she wanted me to do. I'm like, "You want me to sell it to you?" I'm looking around for a price or anything like that. She goes, "No, I want you to tell me about it. And I want you to sell it to me." I'm like, "Oh, okay, I got it." The first thing out of my mouth was, "Well, it's Disney. It sells itself. You don't really have to do any kind of selling when it comes to Disney." But then I went into it. I'm like, "It's a snow globe. I think it was Donald Duck or something. And it was really cool. I wanted to keep it for myself." And I didn't, of course, but I was trying to hoping she would have gave it to me. But it went well. It just went really well. So about 4 to 6 weeks later, I actually first I kind of hear it from my counselor at school, and she said, "Jeff, did you hear about it?" I'm like, "No, I didn't hear anything yet." She goes, "Oh, well, you're going to hear something soon." And I'm like, "Okay," kind of playing stupid. I get home. There's a letter at home. It's from the college program saying, "Welcome to the Disney College Program. You're going to be in the class of 1999 from January 99 to I think it was June of 99." So it was a longer course. And I think I literally jumped up and down. I was extremely excited about this. It was super, super cool. So fast forward a little bit. So what I had to do actually in the college program with my school and of course at Disney, I had to take courses at Disney. So I had to do history and kind of where everything came from, how things are done. I got to go, which is really cool, down in the tunnels underneath the Magic Kingdom, because it's part of what we have to do as cast members is that we have to know all the behind the magic stuff, just like we have to know everything that, of course, is right there out on stage, which is where all the guests go and they all have fun. So we have to know everything, front and back of the house. And to me, I thought that was really cool. So on top of going to school and literally going to school, getting, taking tests and credits and all that kind of stuff, I had to go to school at my school. No, not flying back and forth. Literally, I would be sent projects weekly. I would have to write essays. I would have to write stories. I would have to do some math here and there, but they kind of cut that out after a little while because it was hard. You're working. I mean, you're working at Disney. So, that, like I said, that didn't last very long, but there was a lot of research that we had to do. There was a lot of writing. I still had to do science. I still had to do some social studies. I still had to do that stuff. Still a little bit of math all the way up until the very end of my stay at the college program. And it really was super fun. But after a while, it started getting kind of old because, again, when you're going to school at Disney, it's a whole different learning experience than the stuff that you learn in the schools that we go to, like the colleges that we go to. There's no other way to really put that. But okay, so I'm gonna kind of like speed this along a little because otherwise this can take like a 15-hour conversation here. So now I find out exactly where I'm going to be. And I'm going to be actually at the time it was called Downtown Disney, and I'm going to be at the World of Disney. So this is the biggest Disney store literally in the world from then, anyway. It might still be. I'm not exactly sure. So I'm like, oh, cool. This is because I remember walking around there before, just walking there, as a guest, and gosh, there's so much stuff there. And so I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I met my trainer when I was down there, Margaret. Oh my God, I automatically I fell in love with her because she was just so. Not only was she very Disney-esque, but I think actually more she was just more realistic about it. And what I mean by that is that she wasn't like, she wasn't like, she didn't seem like she was on, any kind of, like she didn't drink the Kool-Aid, kind of a thing. Because, you hear that expression sometimes and people are like, oh, you're overly happy. You drank the Kool-Aid of Disney. There's a lot of people that say that. And Margaret was not like that. Yes, she loved her job. She loved what she did. She loved Disney. But she was just more of a realistic. And she was training me, so she was my trainer, and I just love her. I wish there was a way that I can find her. I've checked on Facebook, I've checked on Instagram, I've checked every social media platform across the country, across the world, and I haven't found her yet. But anyway, so she brought me in, and I started meeting her friends because she started introducing me to everybody. And we all kind of just congregated. We all became like this nice little ball group of friends, and it was fantastic. I worked in the kids section. So I'm one of the guys that put up all the toys and the plushies and all that kind of stuff, some clothing here and there. But I was that guy. And I had such a blast doing this because I wasn't stressed actually doing that kind of work. Not there, because you don't have to worry about, okay, well, you don't have to worry about necessarily getting any kind of like hitting any kind of quota for anything. The back room was really cool. The backstage was really cool. If I needed something, I walkie. They basically bring it right out to me because they have staff back there and out in front. It was so cool with that experience. And somehow I had kind of graduated into also doing greeting. Now, I'm talking like the greeters. Like if you ever walk into the world of Disney or any kind of Disney store, really, even like the Disney stores themselves, they would have somebody go, "Hey guys, how you doing?" They'd wear the gloves and the shoes and whatnot. Now we weren't supposed to do that. We weren't supposed to necessarily wear the merchandise. No one told me that. So I kind of every single day that I would have to do greeting, sometimes be for an hour or 2 hours or the entire day, I would put on my Mickey Mouse gloves and I'd put on my slippers, my Mickey Mouse slippers, those big yellow things. They're so comfortable, by the way. And I would be there greeting, going, "Hey guys, how you doing?" And I would really play it up. I would just really play it up. There's one kind of award that is given out to anybody, again, back then, anybody who has a magical moment. And what that is, anybody who gets these little magical moments, I mean, that's really a big pat on the back to you. That means that somebody has seen what you've done, someone recognizes what you've done. And this particular one I got actually from my manager, who I think was one of the best managers I have ever had working retail in all of my life. But there was a little girl that she runs into the store. She's crying. She doesn't, she looks so scared. And I'm like, whoa, 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 what's going on? Right when that happened, I forgot what song it was, but there was a song that came on and it was like, "When you wish," it was like that very slow, kind of a, okay, breathe kind of a song. But of course it was a Disney song. So it was like a magical breath. And I'm talking to her and I'm thinking, well, where's your mom and dad? She goes, "I don't know." I said, "Well, you know what? How about if we do this?" And I took her over to one little section and showed her a toy that was out. This is way pre-COVID. Uh, showed her a toy that was out, and we started kind of playing with the toys. Now, yes, I left my post. Again, you're not necessarily supposed to do that unless it's a guest service issue. But I left my post and I was with this girl. I didn't know that my manager was watching me throughout this whole entire thing. So as I'm talking to her one last time, I'm over at there was upside down Mad Hatter's hat, and it was hard. It was solid. It was plastic-ish, kind of shiny, and there's a little seat cut out in it. And I put her up in the seat, and I'm on my knees, and I'm sitting down on my butt, and I'm talking with her, and I'm talking to her eye to eye. And finally, uh, I kind of hear like a little something behind me, ways back, just running in or coming into the store, and it's the parents. The parents come in, and of course, the girl, she goes, ah, she gets all excited. The mom and dad are super super stoked, and of course they meet up and everything was all good. They were crying. The parents are crying because of course they didn't know where their daughter was, but then also that someone took the time to just sit there with their daughter and not just shove them off to somebody else or shove them off to some room or some building, but somebody actually took the time. My boss, my manager, came up to me and he says, Jeff, that was the most magical thing I have ever seen in a very long time. And he gives me one of those magical moments. And what's really cool, it's a little card, kind of like a baseball card size. It's white. It's got Tinkerbell in the center, and which is kind of shiny. And then all around it is like little pixie dust, and it says magical moment. And on the back, you just write what that magical moment was. So he wrote it out, and he said almost word for word, a lot shorter than I did. Like I said, it's only like baseball card size. So he wrote this out and gave it to me. And I think I almost cried when I got back to my apartment because I've never had anything like that in the world. Never. So right then and there, I realized, I'm like, you know what? This makes me happy. For the longest time, pre this, pre the college program, that was pretty early college program, in the beginning, like maybe the first like month. I think that actually happened. But before all that, I was kind of upset. I was kind of angry. I was always, I just wasn't a really happy guy sometimes. Believe it or not, I wasn't necessarily always a happy guy. And then this happened, and I'm like, you know what? This is it. I love this. I love customer service, guest service, whatever you want to call it. It's for the fans. It's for the customers. Um, that's what I want to do. That's what I love. So after that's done, I got a few more as the couple of months go by. And then something that has never been asked before of a college program students. And the reason for this, the reason why, okay, so I was asked to actually become the storyteller. Now, this is something I think they did like twice a week, at least once a week, but twice a week, I believe, to become the storyteller. And because I was in the kids department or toy department, whichever you want to say, you sit in that Mad Hatter's hat, which is why they had it there. And then you have all the kids and even family sit down with their kids, but they sit down on the carpet, just like if you were in school. And the parents would stand behind them, and we all would have story time. And I would pick some kind of book, Alice in Wonderland or Mickey Mouse or whatever it may be. And I would sit there and I would physically read. But I wouldn't just read like you're reading off a teleprompter. Oh no, you do the voices. And Gars, one of the best things in the whole wide world, I started becoming goofy. And it really, that right there, that was kind of a little, I gotta need something to drink. But even that, just me doing that and just being a storyteller, that now I'm like, all right, this is what I really want to do. I had the best time. And the fact that the big manager of the store actually said, I want you to be the storyteller. Now, again, like I was trying to say before, they don't ask college program students to actually be the storyteller because we're only there for a limited time. They will ask full-timers, or at least people who are there a lot longer than me. So, but I was really excited that I was asked that. So now I'm like, all right, I love customer service. I mean, I love working with and around people. I absolutely love stories, making them up, telling them, whatever it is. I love it. It's this is fun to me. This is not work. This was fun to me. This also, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here, but this was also the first time that I came out, when I came out as a gay man. So this was the actual first time in my entire life that I was freeing myself. And I can remember, so where I stayed was called Vista Way. Um, some of the cast members had different names for it. You could probably use your imagination of what they could be called, what it sounds like. But Vista Way was just one of the places that Disney actually owned where you pay rent. Now, here's the kicker. This is the funniest thing, and every time I say this, people think that I'm joking. Oh, no, I actually have the check that still says this. So I was paid back then in 1999 at Disney World. I was paid $5.33 an hour. Yeah, think about that for a minute. Uh, there's not a lot you could do with that. I had to pay rent. We had to pay the electric. We had to, food. We had to do everything that adulting people have to do, and $5.33 an hour. Now it was me and three other guys who were all in the same um, apartment, and we had a great time. We really did. So our rent, or my portion of the rent, was $77 a week. Okay, doesn't sound like a lot, right? Well, I was working probably anywhere from 35 to 40 hours. They basically make sure that you're hitting your full-time status, your full-time hours, because they want to make sure that you can pay that $77. Well, I must have slid through the cracks. Um, because my first paycheck, I actually owed Disney money. Yes, I'm going to say that again in my microphone. My first paycheck, I owed Disney money. So weird, absolutely weird. But I physically have the check. I've got it framed. I actually have that check framed up because that is a very special piece to me. So very weird, very, very weird. Um, but that's where we stayed. It was not that far off Disney property, and where I worked, luckily at downtown Disney at the WAD. We call it the WAD, or the World of Disney. Um, it was just basically 10 minutes on one of their shuttles, so it wasn't very far whatsoever. Um, Costuming was kind of fun. Out of all the different costumes that my roommates wore, I have to say that I think I got lucky. And my costume was actually pretty normal: khakis, brown shoes, and it was like red, khaki, and blue uh, button down shirt. So, or just a lot of the times it came down to because my Margaret, my trainer, she was like I said, she was something special. And she would just say, "Oh, just wear a solid shirt." So I would actually sometimes wear a solid shirt, and so I was pretty lucky. I was pretty lucky where I worked. It was pretty, standard, regular, like business casual kind of clothing. One of my roommates actually worked at the Wide World of Sports, and he was he was one of the cooks, I think, and his costume was loud, bright blue pants. Um, Blue shirt with mustard, like mustard color on it, with some red, I think. And I mean, it was ugly. I'm not I'm not gonna lie, it was ugly. But but anyway, um, there was another time, one more time that actually kind of made me feel more myself. So this was the time frame, 1999. This was the time frame that a lot of these groups. Um, I actually saw the group Five, the boy band. If you guys ever heard of that group, they're from England, and that was a fun group. But here's The weird part was, as they're performing up on stage, I'm looking around going, well, first of all, I'm the oldest one that's actually watching these guys. I'm also basically the only male. There was, a couple of other, some parents all the way in the back. There were a couple of other guys here and there. And I'm like, very strange. I didn't care because I enjoyed myself. I was having a really good time. About a week later, Britney Spears is in town, and they had a big Virgin Megastore out there. And I met five. I got my picture with them, and they signed a couple CD covers that I had, and I think the book or the magazine that I had. Same thing with Britney Spears. So this is when she was still pretty, innocent. And but I got her to sign. I saw her perform. I mean, it was so fun. 98 Degrees. I met them, saw them. They signed my Milan VHS. So unfortunately, my dog decided to chew it up, little jerk. But but I mean, I've met so many fun and Salt and Pepper. I mean, I can go on, and it was some of the other people that I've met. And there was here's a fun story. So kind of going back to why this was such a really good experience for me. Where I worked, like I said, my boss, I think that he was one of the best bosses I've ever had in my entire life. And all the people like the group of people that I kind of just grew to love, and, they adopted me, and, which they never really did. So they said, with college program students, because, basically we're in and we're out. One of the things, like, everyone knew that, that I like the Backstreet Boys. And I don't really care what anybody says right now. Judge me all you want. What I remember is that my group of friends at the store, they did something that was just very spectacular, and this just says a lot. So basically, I was working, and Margaret comes up to me and says, "Jeff, why are you here?" And I'm like, "It's my shift. I've got to start work." And she goes, "No, you got to be down there, over." Forgot where it was. It's not even there anymore. But I had to go to this other store, and I'm like, okay, well, how do I know? How am I supposed to know that? And so she's like, well, okay, you got to go. So my manager comes over and says, Jeff, what are you doing? You got to go down there. So I go down there to the other store, and I'm like, okay, I'm here. I'm going to start work. And they said, oh, no, you got to go upstairs. I'm like, oh, okay. So I go upstairs. But they wanted me to take the back way. I couldn't go through the front like how everybody would normally, cast members would normally go. So I go around the back. And up on the very top, I walk in and no one's there. I mean, I know what's up there. I've taken the tours, and I'm like, why am I here? Why am I all the way back here? Well, walking out of the store on the other side are the Backstreet Boys. And they have to walk past me, basically go behind me, and and go down the stairs and out. Well, AJ McLean is my favorite one of all, because he just is, And I was very honored that everybody that I worked with set this up for me to meet all the guys. And because I was standing right in their way, so like, hey, can we get by? And I moved to the side, and they're shaking hands. I go, oh my God, like, hello. And it was so cool. The lengths that people will do who don't even know you necessarily. The lengths that people will go just to give you, in that day and age, that magical moment, says a lot. Says a lot. That was probably one of the best days of my life. And when I walk back to the store, and everyone starts clapping, and they all, and I'm like, oh my God, I was like so embarrassed. I'm like, everybody is in on this. It was so fun. So, and of course, I remember everybody. Unfortunately, a few people have passed away since then, because we still keep in contact, and it was a lot of fun. But the college program, going to what I'm saying, the college program opened my eyes, not just to Disney, not just to Florida, but just in general of what I want to do with my life. I got to meet Also on the college program, what we got to do is at the time at Universal at Hollywood Studios there at Disney, they were still literally that was still a working animation studio for Disney, and they were working on animations there. I think what they were working on, let's see, 1999, so I think 97 Hercules came out, and 99 Mulan, I think, I believe. And so we were lucky enough, some of us college program people, if you were interested in animation and art, there were a few, but there weren't as many as I thought there'd be. There was a select group of us that got to go and actually physically walk around and kind of get the back scene or the backstage look at some of the animations. And I don't remember which brother it was, but coming into Vista Way, so we didn't have to go necessarily outside the park, and then also the animator wasn't bombarded with so many people. It was one of the Bancroft brothers. So if you guys are familiar with Tony and Tom, I believe Tom, with the Bancroft brothers, I mean they worked for Disney for years, but we're talking Mulan. I'm not sure about Little Mermaid. I don't think maybe I'm not sure, but they've done a lot of stuff with Disney. They are animators to the fullest degree, and actually they just started their own animation studio, Pencilish Studio. If you guys remember seeing that over the past couple of years, but they came in. One of the animation desks was all set up. They had a big old screen down right behind them, so we can physically see what they're drawing. And he was drawing Mushu. I think it was Tony. I think it was Tony. I think. Um, but right there, you can ask them questions, take your pictures, shake hands. Now this was '99, so cameras and cell phones and stuff like that, they weren't really out there for everybody quite yet. If you guys can believe it or not, 1999, there weren't a lot of cell phones at the time. They were basically in your car, and really, really, really for the rich people, I think. Yep, that's about right. So you really couldn't take pictures, but Polaroids and the disposable cameras, you just kind of you can take pictures that way. But getting to meet and actually see one of these animators, and he actually sat there and he drew Mushu, one of my favorite characters. I mean, just absolutely awesome. Seeing him do that and how he's talking and he's so excited, he's so happy, that just kind of put a little more of a warm, fuzzy feeling in me going, that's what I want to do. I want to create something that makes people happy. And so if you bring all these pieces together, you can kind of see why I wanted to start my own animation studio. Now, I'm going to fast forward a lot because there's a whole lot in between there, but I'm going to fast forward all the way to basically the end of the college program for me. So we were told that the college program is changing from that point on, unfortunately. Like I said in the beginning, we actually had to do schoolwork from our schools that sent us there, and we had to do schoolwork there at Disney because they have their own schooling that they put you through. Well, it's now time for graduation for Disney. So I am very honored to say that I am a Disney graduate with my doctorate degree. So that's the highest honor. That's the highest degree you can get, is the doctorate degree. And I'm so proud of that, of that degree. It was such a great experience, and it was so fun to do that, meet all the people I've met, not just from the US, but from all over the world. I've met some people from Japan. I've met some people from Russia. I've met some people, not many, but I've met some people, and oh my God, they're absolutely amazing people. Workers, people who went to Disney. They're on the college program as well, but the international college program. So that's how I got to meet a lot of these people. And of course, you meet the guests. They're just so happy to be there. They're super excited, and it just really, really makes you feel good when you do something and people are excited. about it, it really does make you feel good. So I always say, when I started my animation studio, Jeff Balke Studios, yeah, I woke up and boom, I said, I want to start my own studio, my own animation studio. Now, this was about 7, 8 years. No, that's a lie. 15 years, 16 years after I did the college program. And it wasn't just an overnight thing saying, oh, I'm going to do it. It really wasn't. I like making people happy. I like taking people out of reality and giving them a story or having them read a story to where they can just come out of reality. Even for a minute, even for a minute. If I can do that, if I can do that, I'm doing my job. That's the way that I look at it. And that's what I want to do with the comic books, the comic strips, and of course, once I start getting it all put together, the animations. So it is a long and lengthy process to get an animation together. It's a long process even for comic books for the most part. Because you got to find, it's not just finding somebody going, oh, no, you're an artist, cool, come on board. It's not that. It's the vision that you have that is getting put down on paper that's going to last, hopefully, forever. And that's the vision that you have, and that's the vision that you want to keep and you want to give to generations to come. That is something to me that feels so good. I love when I go to conventions and people look at the book or they're going to pick it up right there on the spot. They're like, oh, this is so cool. Can I get, they buy the book right there from me? Or it's even better. Now, I worked in comic books for many years, previously before I started working on animation. Excuse me, guys. Oh, I was trying to avoid that. When people bring up any of the comics that I've worked on and they want me to sign it, oh, sorry, guys. Kind of recalibrate this a little bit. Okay, that's a little better. That is such a good warm fuzzy inside because, again, I created something that somebody likes. Look, I'm not a celebrity. I'm not like a Chris Hemsworth or I'm not, anybody like that. I don't work for any major company. I did, just, Fantastic Four, two covers. But you know what? I don't work for those guys. I'm trying to create something original and new that's coming from me to you guys. And it makes me feel so good when I go out to a convention or I go to an event of any kind that we have or that I go to or set up at. It makes me feel good that people come up to the table. They want to know about what the studio is. They want to know about the characters. They want to know their background. They want to read the book or they buy the book or they buy anything from me. It is such a great feeling. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to start this studio, because I want something that's going to leave my name. It may not be like Disney. I don't care. It may not be Marvel or DC. I don't care. I'm Jeff Balke. This is who I am. This is what I enjoy. And I'm doing something that I absolutely enjoy and I love to do. So that's my experience with the college program anyway. So I know I kind of got off on a little bit of a tangent at the end there, but that was my experience. So I'm pretty sure that they still have them going around. So anybody out there, if you're in college or you know somebody who's in college and they still have this program, the college program, I suggest you guys do it, because you know what? I'll tell you what. It is a great and awesome experience because you meet other people outside of your box. When you have a group of friends, they're basically all, them. But then you meet friends in a whole different state and you're with them for a long period of time. And they don't know your friends that are back home. They don't know that whatsoever. They don't know them at all. Maybe they do. You never know, with social media and everything. But it's just so great to get out there and meet new people. It's a great feeling because you never know what's going to happen. So thankfully for me doing that, I got to start my own studio. Yes, it's a slow, like I said, it's a slow start, but I'm getting there. So anyways, guys, that's a little bit about me and the college program. I had such a great time doing that. I loved it. It was so fun. I would so do it again. But I'm not in school. You got to be in college in order to do that. So, anyways, that's kind of my little thing, what I wanted to talk about today. Like I said, just something a little bit more about me. A lot of people didn't know that I worked for Disney, that I got a doctorate degree. And, that's literally from a Disney school. I graduated from them. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you so much. I really do appreciate you guys checking this video out. I know it was kind of lengthy, but this is just something else, kind of a little bit about me, of little things I'm going to do here and there, when I go live. Because sometimes we all like to know, like, well, how did you start? Where did you come from? What's your background? Well, just a little bit here and there. If I can give that to you, I definitely will. So thank you guys very much, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you at some upcoming conventions very soon. Go and check out jeffbalkestudios.com, and you can go to the events page and look at all the conventions that are for sure going to happen this year. I'm still waiting on a few of them to get back to me for this year, but at least the ones that are for sure up there posted right now on the events page. Take care, guys. Thank you, and I will hopefully be seeing you tomorrow for a new episode of Coloring with Jeff. Take care, guys.